you're taking if you're taking care of a baby when it's your own, but now you're taking care of a baby and then you're taking care of your own baby, your daughter. You're taking care of
Yes,
your daughter
for both.
for both. Oh my God. It's all good, alhamdulillah, but like she's nursing, but she's also pumping so that she can sleep at night. So I got to do the 3 o'clock in the morning feeding yesterday, and I'm gonna do that again today. Um, and we were just laughing, Anohea and her husband. We were just saying, guys, it's only been one day.
لا
هنضحك
لسه.
يعني قاعدين ننام من بدري.
You will enjoy it a lot لسه.
Yeah, إن شاء الله. بس
لا ربنا معاكم يا رب.
thank you, thank you. Today, actually, I'm gonna be very quiet, and Amira is going to be moderating and leading the class today. So I'm gonna see where she is 'cause she needed the link. Okay, I sent her the link. I hope she got it. Perfect. Mayeda, how are you doing? It's been a while.
Dana, I'm
There's
completely
Amira.
disconnected. Completely disconnected. I have no idea what happened during the past 3 months.
Mm,
I don't think I'll be able to do anything before Eid. So busy with everything.
mm.
I have some classes that I'm doing. It's mainly related to Quran or memorization and things like that.
Okay.
So it's taking a lot of time. And we have
Mm,
lots of exams as well.
okay.
So I didn't even watch the videos, unfortunately. So I don't know. But I'm with you the coming 3 months, and
Okay.
hopefully I will do better, inshallah.
Well, the good thing, hi Amira, I was just wondering where you were.
Hi, Dana. Yeah.
The good thing about this is that each month is independent in terms of subject matter, right? So, and each book has nothing to do with the book before it or the book after it. The things that we sort of are building on, building like a toolkit of feminine practices, and even those you can just jump in and start with whichever one sort of tickles your fancy, right?
Yeah,
So don't be too hard on yourself. There's literally the point of this program is to slow down and not just in the program, but outside of the program, be able to recognize what truly requires your attention in a way that makes you feel fulfilled and not frantic, in a way that fills you up. So if that's what you're able to do, then that's one of the goals of this program, then you've done it. But but you're still in this program. So recommit yourself to the program and don't worry about what's past. You'll always have the recordings. Focus on the next 3 months. So we are halfway through. And
inshallah.
you can still, 3 months is a long time. You can still get a lot out of the last 3 months.
The thing is, Dana, I'm read, يعني, I bought all the novels, almost all of them.
Okay.
And most probably I'll take them with me during summer break when I go to Sahel, inshallah.
Okay.
I feel يعني I don't have the appetite for reading. I feel that I don't have the time. It's not for me now. Maybe it's I love reading.
Mm.
I bought the books, but I don't feel like reading now. I feel maybe I should take care for maybe my health, my skin, my
Mm.
hair, and
Mm.
things like
Mm.
that, which I prioritize if I do it, if I do it. And then the reading might come later. So I don't feel that reading is for me at this stage.
Mm. Mm.
I don't have the appetite for it. This is a big problem, really.
Well, there's definitely sometimes you sort of have to find a way to, yeah, there's always going to be resistance to something new and something that you've never done. So acknowledge that's a big part of the process is overcoming resistance. But it could be, like you mentioned, you're already very consumed with reading of a different kind.
Exactly.
So it could be that
Exactly.
you're just overloaded. And maybe
Yeah.
once that's finished, maybe once you have time and mind space that opens up, because if you're doing a lot of reading, a lot of memorization. That's a lot of brain power also.
Yeah. Yes. And
So,
it takes a lot of time, a
Yeah.
lot of time.
Yeah.
I don't have time for for more reading. I love
Yeah.
reading, by the
Yeah.
way. I love reading, but I cannot do it now.
Yeah.
This is the thing. This is my problem.
Let's reframe that instead of this is my problem, right? Because as
Yeah,
long as you are going to keep telling yourself this is my problem, then you're just going to keep seeing proof of that in your life, that this is a problem and that
yeah.
there's no time for it and that it can't happen. So how can you reframe that so that at least you can start to see evidence of it being something that you can do versus continuously coming up the resistance that you can't do it?
Yes, I would love doing it. The thing is that the time, it's just the time constraints. That's it. It's I don't have enough time. As I said, because I have like exams and we
Yeah.
are almost near the finals,
Mm.
lots of revisions, lots of memorization, reciting, and so with taking care of the family, of course,
Yeah.
Ramadan and the
Yeah.
kitchen and all this stuff. I had the feeling, okay, I need to look after myself as health-wise
Yeah.
if I can.
Mm.
And then I'll take the books with me to Sahel, inshallah, when I have this 2 months break. I read as much as I can. I have other books I would love to read as well that in my library that I didn't manage to read yet. I will
Okay.
take them as well with the hope that I will read some, inshallah, يعني. And I'll
Inshallah.
try to follow in the future the program, بإذن الله, inshallah.
Inshallah. It's good to have you with us in all
Thank
cases.
you, Dana. Thank
You're
you. I
welcome.
love this group, really.
Thank you. All right, ladies. Hi, Rania. Um, Amira, I'm going to hand it over to you. Amira has bravely volunteered to be our first moderator for our book group sessions. So today is still Tess of the D'Urbervilles. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows last week we canceled the class. So we're talking about Tess today. Rania, but go ahead before we start.
Mm. I haven't finished reading. I don't know what you were talking about before, but I haven't finished reading the book. I just wanted to be, is it okay to come in and
Of
just
course.
listen? Okay.
I mean, it's a totally, I mean, if you're okay
Okay.
finding out
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the ending and all of that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just have before Amira starts, I just have one thing that I don't know if the other ladies are feeling the same. My ideal day, I every time I get it and I fixed it. Things I don't have my ideal day keeps changing every 2 weeks. There's something that changes. Either I have a guest or
mm,
Ramadan comes
mm,
or I'm and I've always had an issue. I love planning and I'm
yeah,
very set for me once I get it, I'm happy with it, and then something happens and everything goes upside down and I fall back, and it takes me a while to get back on track and try and do another ideal day. So do you have any? I know with this program you said to be more flexible,
yeah.
which I'm not really good at, but I'm trying to. But is there any other tips that you can? I don't know if anyone else is struggling with the same thing as me or not.
I mean, let's just put it this way. My ideal day is shot to hell.
Yeah, I'm sure.
مفيش
لا, I know.
خالص. If
لا,
it makes you
I'm
feel any
sure.
better. Um, I mean, here's what I'm seriously just doing, and there's always going to be things life that's going to throw you curveballs. Um, what I tell myself now, for example, okay, there's like there's everything is non-schedulable. Everything is just
Mm,
we are
mm,
following a little human, right?
mm,
But I tell
mm,
myself like what are the three most important things I really need to do for myself every day? And it doesn't matter then when I do them. So I give
mhm,
myself like open, like freedom to do them whenever I feel like I can, right? So
mhm,
my workout, because without it, mentally, emotionally,
mm,
I don't function as well. So it doesn't matter, do I do it in the morning? Do I do it at
mm,
night? Do I do it in the middle of the day?
mm,
Usually, in my ideal day, at home, I do my workout anytime between 12 and 2 p.m. That's my perfect window for working
Mm.
out. It's not gonna, it hasn't happened here. So am I just gonna drop it? So I try to think about what are the consequences of the all or nothing.
Mm.
So if I stick to my, I can, if I don't do it in this order, the way I like it, the way I'm used to it, and then I drop it completely because I'm not able to adapt, what are the consequences of that?
Mhm.
So that's one of the most important things I need to do. The other important thing I need to do, obviously, I need to spend time, and for the next few days anyway, because I will be taking time off of work, is work. Like in terms of your work, if those of you who work, if you work, whether in
Mm.
at home or at you have to go to work, if there's something that something you owe other people, right? Like it's not just about you, something you have to deliver, you have a responsibility. So that's
Mm.
something that has to get done every day. I prefer to work first thing in the morning. It's not happening. So then I'll do it late at night. So then I'll wake up earlier and do it.
Mm.
Again, because what would the consequences be if I try and stick to my schedule that is just not happening because of circumstances outside of
Mm.
my hand? So I always remind myself of the consequences of being so rigid with my schedule. It's going to
Mm.
come back, and I mean, harm is a strong word, but it will. I won't feel
Mm.
good about myself. I won't feel
Mm.
good if I haven't worked out, if I haven't done my work properly. Um, so think about the consequences of you not allowing yourself to adapt, and then
Mm.
think of the two or three most important things that make the biggest difference to you in your ideal day and how you can work them in when there's an interruption to your schedule, an interruption to your ideal day,
Mm.
Ramadan, guests, whatever it is.
Mm.
How can you
Okay.
still take the time out for yourself for the things that really make the biggest difference? Some things are going to obviously fall off
Mm. Mm.
when there's a big shift. And Ramadan is a big shift in terms of schedule and socializing and guests. It can be a big shift. So what is it that you can let go of? If you don't do it in Ramadan, it's not a big deal. But what is it that if you do also let go of, when Ramadan is finished, you're going to feel the consequences of that?
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, and if I may add something,
Yes.
yes, it works for me because I think the biggest struggle for me is that I resist. I refuse to accept that I don't have control. I refuse to
Mm.
accept that, the plan is not going, as should
Mm.
be. I
Yeah.
mean,
Mm.
this is the biggest sort of,
Mm.
moment of turmoil and everything. And I think that I'm trying to train myself to accept it.
Mm.
Like it's okay. Okay.
Mm.
This was planned for today. It's not happening. خلاص, Amira, it's not happening.
Mm.
Okay. So I think once I start to reconcile, with the idea or accept that it's beyond my control, and
Mm.
also coming from a person that likes to be in control, and because I always take the blame, I blame myself too much if things do not go as planned.
Mm.
Okay. So accepting that, like things happen and life will keep happening, so
Mm.
it's not according to the plan, but accept it.
Mm.
Okay. And I talk to myself that this is not going to last forever, Amira.
Mm.
Okay. It's just today, it's just tomorrow. Okay. You will get time, or maybe try to talk myself into thinking that, okay, maybe this is a diversion.
Mm.
Okay, because I need to be maybe more alert or open my eyes to something maybe else happening or bigger happening,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
like,
Mm. Mm.
yes, I mean, yes, I find that, yes, if we can come to peace, with the
Mm.
idea that it's going south, yes, it is not
Yeah.
happening. Yes,
Mm.
okay, so
I
just sit
feel,
with it.
yeah, I
Yes.
feel with this program, the shift that I feel has happened with me is accepting things more, not in a bad way, but accepting, like, uh, listening to my body and accepting
أيوة.
things
Yes.
that happening. But I'm still in the phase where you're trying to like accept, but like resist the acceptance.
أيوة, resistance,
Yeah,
of course,
Mm.
because
yeah,
I think, it's like I'm responsible. If things are not going as planned, then it is my fault. Then it falls on me to fix it. I always have to fix things. Okay. For this feeling, I think this mindset, هو exactly is maybe what we need to move away from. I don't have to fix everything. And I know I'm saying, when I say it to you, it sounds like, oh, it's so easy, but I know, يعني هو easier said than done, for sure.
yeah,
But it's a process, or as they say, like a
practice.
learning curve, yes, I think.
And
Yes,
Okay.
and I love what you said that about the acceptance, Amira, and just remind yourself that when something is not working, it's not working, and you just sort of say it's not working. This allowing, that is a
أيوة, yes,
quintessentially feminine quality of not trying to force anything. But
yes,
so for so many of us, we are functioning very much from a masculine place of masculine energy, right? Where
yes.
you need to be in control, you need to be sure of the outcome, you need to know exactly what's happening, and sort of being passive, that's another feminine quality, but passive and just allowing. We've never been taught that.
It's true, and I'm going to use this as a segue into, you
Go for
know,
it.
into Tess, because as I was reading it, one of the recurrent thoughts were, is Tess being passive? Is Tess being accepting, but accepting in a negative, sense, of the word? Like, is she being too, is she victimizing herself? Okay, should she have done more? Should she have, tried more and made more effort to? Or because, when you're reading, and I don't know, we're going to talk about that, if you feel that Tess's concept of accepting is really in the negative, passive way, like she let things happen to her. She let things happen to her that ruin, her life, and escalates, and it leads to her downfall, eventually. So again, where does Tess, stand, on this continuum of, accept, a passive, victim, agent? So I don't know if you feel okay, starting with that point. But before I just stop here, I have to admit that reading Tess, okay, I could not, like, she is Tess, but also it was a bit not easy to detach myself and other women in general, okay, from Tess. Like, I always find myself, okay, would Tess have done this if she was, if she was me, if I were her, if she was of the modern times, if again, I sometimes, as Dana said last time, it could ruin maybe, the pleasure of reading, but it is something that, your mind is just how it interacts or engages with Tess. So back to the first point of discussion was, again, the idea of being passive. Okay, are we responsible for things that happen to us? Okay, where is the defining, very fine thread between accepting and being an agent, letting go? So anyone wants to or have thoughts on that as you were reading Tess? Or first thing, or your impression of Tess in general might be an easier place to start.
Well, maybe I can jump in. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
For me, it was a very interesting book because I felt that Tess was, let's say, a victim of her own parents. I mean, first of all, her father. It should have been the job of the father to go out and work and take care of his family, and then you have the mother who pushed her to go and find her cousin or alleged cousin Um, so she went, and then, well, after her stay there, then she was raped. I, I can't say that it was her fault. I mean, it's not clearly written in the book. Um, if she accepted it or if she was asleep and then it happened to her, and so on and so forth. And then she went back home. And then the mother was, I mean, it was not clear. Um, uh, the mother quickly said, yeah, it is something which happens to girls. And then I began to thought, yeah, let's say in the time of our grandmothers or our mothers, have our mothers or grandmothers informed us of what might happen to a girl or a woman?
Mm.
And it's one thing. The other thing is that, uh, yeah, it's one thing. The other thing is also in our schools. I mean, what happens with awareness?
Mm.
You know, well, I had a good education in Cairo, and then I moved to Switzerland. And before I moved to Switzerland, my parents, my grandmother also, she cautioned me about things that may happen to a young unmarried girl or a woman. So uh, I I got this awareness from home. But I wonder now in the current society if girls also get to be informed about such things. Coming back to this, okay, I found her. I mean, after the episode rape baby, and then the baby died, and so on, she set she set on her own path to go out through the villages, the countries, and find work. I mean, in a way, it's good. Maybe because she did not want to stay at home and see her parents and siblings, or maybe because she wanted to prove something to herself that she is able to go out and work and help the family. Uh, what else? And then, well, then came the episode of uh, the last farm where she was in. She fell in love with Claire, or
Yes, the angel.
let's say Claire.
Yeah.
It's a woman's name, actually. Well,
No,
anyway, Claire.
he's Angel,
Oh,
Angel Claire.
yes, okay. Claire. So they fell in love, and then it is one point which is not clear. Um, they fell in love, and then he proposed to marry her. And then in the book, it's written that a day or the night before the wedding or the day before the marriage, she wrote him a letter and she put it under the door. But it's not clear if he had read it or if he had
No, he did not.
received it.
He did not.
Okay.
He did
So then
not.
when she told him what happened to her after the
Yeah.
marriage, then it went out of control. So
Yes.
he did not accept the fact, and then the whole idea of Brazil came up, and then he left, and yeah. So in this time, it was maybe a year. She saw the cousin which she had been, which the cousin whom she was with a year ago, and so on. And he tried to seduce her again and come live with
Ale.
me, and Claire won't come back, and so on and so forth. So,
So, Marianne, it's very interesting what you're saying. You seem to be very much into the novel. So, can I ask you,
yeah, of
because
course.
the feeling I'm getting, from what you're saying is that she is a victim maybe of fate and of family and of mothers who did not or do not educate their daughters
I would say
enough
so, yes.
about going out, to the outer world and facing the world and facing men. Okay, so is this what you think? Is this how you feel about Tess?
It's how I feel. I mean, if you look at it, the book was I mean, the story was probably end of the 18th century, beginning
Yes,
of
it's
the
in
19th.
Victorian England. Yes.
Yes, and I think at the time the people were not so open. No,
Well, that's
I
very interesting, Marianne, because when I was reading the book, and I know this
yes,
is, late 18th, early 19th century,
yes, hmm
I couldn't help but drawing, comparisons that this test could be any Egyptian girl في rural Egypt أو في
true.
or in those, less privileged, social class.
Hmm.
Yes,
And we are 2025.
Hmm.
Okay, إنه this mother-woman dialogue, as you pointed out earlier, it does not happen, about, life and, preparing or educating or opening doors or
hmm
communicating,
yes,
this is number one. Okay, and there are some expectations that women or girls, have to live up to. Okay, so it falls
hmm
on them.
There's,
Uh,
oh, sorry, I
yes,
was
go
going to
ahead,
say, in both societies, there's also the hypocrisy, right?
Oh, oof, yes, and
of
the
course.
hypocrisy. So, taking from Dana, the hypocrisy makes you think, and I've thought a lot about the two main male characters, okay, Alec,
Mm.
and Angel,
Hmm
and which of them has done the most harm,
Mm.
to Tess. And this might be a spoiler alert for, like, I know, Rania, you haven't finished it, but um, Angel just moves on at the end of the novel. He doesn't lose his life, he doesn't lose his reputation, he doesn't lose his status. Okay, he moves on, and he even
It's with
moves
her
on
sister.
with Tess's young sister, exactly, with Liz. Okay, so how do we see, if we are to compare both men, the two main male characters, what's his name, the rapist, okay, the assaulter, um, Alec, her distant cousin, whatever,
Yeah.
an angel, the man, who fell in love with her, who proposed to her, and who seemed to be too ideal, of a gentleman,
Mm.
by the norms of that time and maybe of our times as well. So anyone wants to talk about Alec and Angel?
Well, I mean, the, to the point of hypocrisy, when Angel turns against her, it's for basically committing the identical crime that he had committed as well
Himself, exactly.
himself.
Yes.
So when I look and I look back at the two men, they both make mistakes in different ways, but at least Alec comes back to fix his mistake. He didn't know. He didn't know that, what happened to Tess after he raped her. He didn't know. And then he finds out and he comes back and he tries to fix it.
Mm.
Angel finds out, fine, everybody needs space to think about the next step, to sort out their feelings, but he doesn't want to come back to fix anything. He doesn't have the mindset of forgiveness, let's say, of I think he's so much the stereotypical man where I can basically do whatever I want, but the woman cannot.
Yes.
At
Where,
least
where,
Alec, yeah, at least Alec had, you know, the bravery to admit his own shortcomings
yes.
and to try and mend. Obviously, it doesn't work out. But for me, if I was to choose between the two men, I would choose Alec d'Urberville as the one with the
Over Angel.
for
Yeah.
Angel. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would do too, because also with Alec, you know, Alec doesn't preach.
Mm.
Alec doesn't, idolizes.
Yes,
Alec doesn't, sort of lecture, tests, about, life and how people should be and this. And when the test, when the real trial happens, you fail.
yes,
تمام
yes,
ويفيل ما شاء الله يعني
yeah,
but with Alec it's kind of what you see is what you get. I mean, he doesn't pretend that he is some other noble man than what he really is. يعني he is the product
yes,
of his environment, but he seems to be reconciled with that. Whereas the other one, okay, he projects maybe he himself needs to go on his own self journey, you
yes,
know, to know where he stands and how much he can accept, and live with. Yes. And how much, he reminds me also this angel, of many, again, okay, of many. I'm going to speak about Egyptian men because it's, the culture, but I'm sure, if this resonates with other cultures as well.
yes.
On the outside, modern, liberal,
Hmm.
okay, accepting, open to the world. I mean, you
Progressive.
can, of course, you can do this. Of course, women have the right to, and he wants to teach her, and he's asking her, what do you want to learn if you were to choose
Yeah,
history? I don't know what or what. So he's got this sort of aura, around him.
yeah.
And then but the real test happens, and you feel that this is not the mindset of this modern time,
Mm.
man. لا, that this is the mindset of بقى grandfather great grandfather ancestors, where he forgets all about the books, all about Cambridge, all about, I don't know where he was, what he was
Yeah,
studying.
yes,
Okay, would be at stereotypical, male that is entitled. He can do stuff. Okay, he can make mistakes. It's okay, if he slept with this woman or if he kissed that woman, but it's not okay with if Tess does it.
yeah.
But this also, another point I want to stop at, which I found also maybe relative to the program here, is it seems that Angel has fallen in love with an with an idealized version of Tess. He fell in love with his idea of Tess. Okay, so
He,
that made me think, when this happened, when this situation happens, okay, does it fall on the woman, okay, to correct the misconception, and to show her real self, ولا the other partner or the other, part, should make, or هي should make the effort,
mm,
to really explore the other person and get to know him. يعني sometimes I felt إنه Angel was not doing the effort to really know her, get to know her. Also about relationships in general. Okay, if Dana has this idea of me, does it fall on me to correct Dana's idea? ولا لا, it is Dana who should actually make the effort
mm.
to get to know me for who I am, and then decide بقى what she wants to do with me. I think I stopped a lot at this point.
Because that is one of the central themes, right? Which is the conflict between what's ideal and
Yes.
what we create ideals of in our minds, the ideal morals, the ideal situations, the ideal lifestyle, the ideal partner, right? And then that conflict between that and the fact that humans are flawed. They're not perfect. They're not ideal. They're real. So there's a continuous conflict between this. Everybody creates, I mean, and Tess does, everybody in the book does it to some extent, right? Like the father, when he discovers his heritage, right? He starts to
Mm,
dream about, the idealized version of his life and how
yes.
he's going to move on. So all of the characters present this conflict to some extent. I think with Angel, we just see it that he has idealized everything in his
Mm,
mind. He's not able to see reality. And then when he
yes.
does, it's such a shock to his
He just
preconceived
takes
notions
off. Yes.
of this high ideal of life, of a woman, of
Mm,
living. He cannot merge the two. He can't see that you can have a little bit of both. For him, it's
oh,
either or. Um, and I just see this playing out over and over. And poor Tess, I think, your earlier question, was she a victim? I think she was only a victim in the sense that she was always trying to create an ideal out of awful situations.
Mm.
Every time she found herself unfairly, I mean, it was a lot of fate. There's a lot of
Mm.
fate, things that she didn't have control over. She would try to idealize the situation and create a little bit more of an ideal from the awful reality. This is how I see her. So I felt like she was a fighter in that sense.
Yes.
That not just because fate dealt me this hand, then it
Mm.
means I'm just going to let it completely overtake me. Okay, I'm gonna go start a new life here. Every time something fateful happens to her, she chooses to go and recreate another life somewhere else. Okay, albeit she does it because, maybe there's reputation involved. She needs to be and find a new group of people who don't know her. But she also doesn't just sit there passively,
Mm.
not taking control of her life. So I don't think she's a victim in that sense. I think she's a victim of fate. And
Yeah.
I mean, fate is one of those things that how can you escape fate? If something is fated to happen to you, how can you escape that? She tried to work around the moral codes, the hypocrisy, what happened to her with these two men, but it just keeps coming back to a, a bigger force, I believe.
Well, maybe this also makes us think about إنه Tess, as you say, she's trying also always to just, she's being resilient. She's not just, to snap back, to stand again on her 2 feet.
Yeah.
But she's always sort of like lonely. I mean, alone, like we don't, I think, I mean, I guess Hardy, the author, because, he really wants to shock us with this reality, and shake the society norms at the time.
Yes.
Okay, that he made all those he had her take or receive all those blows just by herself, like, you don't feel there is solidarity, you don't feel that there was any sort of community supporting her, or telling her yes you can, or yes you will, or yes together we can, she was all on her own,
But also
it's
nobody knew the truth about her story. I mean,
true.
nobody, like when she would move to the dairy farm and all of this, nobody knew why she was there. Like, and she did create friendships there. So you did
Yes.
feel a sense of, a camaraderie at the end, even though they were jealous of her. Um,
Mm.
but nope, I don't think anybody, I think they all did as much as they could do with whatever information they had, about her.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is one of the bigger, I think Hardy's bigger messages here about injustice.
Yes.
Lots and lots of
Yes.
injustice.
Yes, yes. And something else, something funny is that, we were supposed to do this last week. Yes. And then when we postponed, to this week, this is like now I'm moving now to Egyptian, TV shows, drama.
Uh,
Okay. So two new shows, started playing, which, Dana, I'm sure when you come back, no, they're creating, a lot of debate and discussions on all platforms
Like a
in
Ramadan series or what?
Yes, yes, yes. We've got one that's it's Lam Shamsiya, which is about child sexual abuse, and it's the first, in Egyptian, and I think the Arab, drama to talk about such thing on TV.
Okay.
Okay, in this way, and
Yeah.
lots of other social issues as well.
Mm.
So thinking about test, thinking about the social stigma, and again, and how women in general, we are the easiest, species to, to fall under this and to fall as victims, and we are the first to blame, and people would point, at us. So one of the shows is called ظلم المصطبة. Excuse me. It's by Riham Abdel Ghafour. It's 2025. It's happening in one of Egypt's, Delta, governorates, في Damanhur,
Yeah.
and see how it is so easy to be stigmatized as a woman, and how as fast as fire, spreads in a, haystack, or whatever, you become okay, you become the criminal, you become the outcast, and then consequences happen so fast, so fast. So again, I found it funny that, I'm reading about Tess, or I finished reading Tess, and then I'm watching the shows and I'm thinking, oh, so there are many parallels between, Tess and contemporary, Egyptian women, in their own strive and their own, everyday struggle. So yes.
What does this say though? We've
Yes.
evolved. We've evolved for sure, but at the core,
Yes.
the core issues are still the same.
Also, there's this bit when the dialogue between when what's his name, Angel, he's talking to his mother and his parents about, Tess, and how he's thinking of, of marrying her. And as you're reading, you're looking at the criteria, selection criteria. And I'm like, this could happen in, today's, again, let's say, rural or working class,
I mean,
Egyptian family. How do you pick a woman as a partner?
It happens on the dating apps. You
Yes.
don't have to be in a village. You don't have to be less educated or less
Yes.
aware. This happens on dating apps.
يعني هو he
Still
wants her
happening.
because yes, she's pious, she's religious, she's conservative, she's a good Catholic or what, okay. So the criteria, okay, this could translate into our modern society as okay, لا هي ملتزمة بتعرف ربنا كويس, she prays, I don't know, the five prayers, she is this, she's engaged in charity, whatever. So again, as you were saying, إنه appearance, again, this takes us to like a Shakespearean sort of, theme, like appearance, versus reality.
Yeah.
We are so concerned about the appearances. We don't make effort actually to get to know people, to show interest in people, to listen to people. But no, it's easier to fall in love with our own, idea of them, or our own idealized or unreal a version of them.
Because Tess was truly, if you take this one incidence of rape away, okay, and you look at Tess and you just take that part of the story away and you see what kind of a daughter she was. See the kind of morals she had helping her parents at home. When she took the carriage out, when and the horse died at the beginning of the story,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
She had this strong moral obligation to her father who was, drunk on the couch, but she realized she had to go and save the family, basically financially. So if you just take the progression of her life in terms of how pure she is in her values and her morals, in her work ethic. I mean,
Yes.
I could not imagine the what it takes, physical effort it takes for all the walking she did.
Labor, yes.
And the labor and the milking the cows and waking up so early every day. Truly, I mean, if we were to look at that and somebody was to put down all of these characteristics of this girl, okay, nearly perfect and also beautiful, right? Apparently very beautiful to look at. But then this one blemish, which it wasn't even her fault,
yes, yes,
wipes all of this away.
Yes, yes. My God, yes. I was about the rape, the rape scene, and again, trying to connect with them all the time. I'm like, okay, I bet where is someone now saying, what was she doing there?
What was she
wearing?
What was she wearing?
Yes, maybe you have given him some signals or sent some messages that it was okay, or it was okay-ish, or maybe you really wanted it to happen, but you were acting, as no, no, no. So again, women, I mean, the things we have to endure, and what you were just describing, Dana, about, the hard, sort of manual labor, that is engaged in. Okay, I think this is why now we find it very difficult to just sit, and not do anything, or just indulge in the moment, because maybe as the feminine, or is this generational, again, inherited, feminine, energy, or something, that we always have to be doing something. We always have to be looking after
Yeah.
something. Yes, attending to something, fixing something, doing something. So yes, and I guess it's universal. Looking at Tess, that it's not only, Middle Eastern women, or it's just universal.
Human nature is
Yes.
universal. And that is really, if we just to take it down to bare bones, that is the point of literature, isn't it? Is to share the human experience. Across languages, across cultures, you're going to find that it's exactly the same. The details might be a bit different, um, the language a bit different, the culture a little bit different, but the core of humanity, of every human, is the same.
Yes.
Beliefs, fears, loves, hopes, dreams, admirations, and the the hypocrisy, the
Yes.
morals, the
Yes. Yes.
across the
Yes.
board, you're going to find that we can relate
Yes.
it
I'm
to
looking at,
something. You can relate to
yes.
something in any story that you read. To something, even if it's very small.
Yeah. So, ladies, anyone wants to share something? We don't want to hijack the yes, the conversation.
I I was just thinking, how can it be stopped?
Mm.
I mean,
Oh.
is it something to put more awareness, let's say in schools, uh, education? I mean, I know it can't be stopped, but um, what what can society do to get it to get the situation better for young women and girls? I mean, it's happening everywhere. Let's say it's not only in Egypt, but everywhere in the world.
Well, I mean, let's think about it. We as women, okay, so we can look at this story, we can look at this the never-ending cycle of how the hypocrisy and the moral duplicity and all of this, and it's not ending.
No.
But what are we as women teaching our own daughters? Forget what society's teaching them. When we say, how are we going to end it? Okay. And I've thought about this a lot, like when it comes to my daughters, when it comes to my sons, this is a generational pattern.
Hmm.
And it keeps being transferred from this is why it's continuing. Every generation just believes that since it's something that's been passed down from the generation before us, then it's correct. If your parents tell you this, if your church or your mosque or your sheikh or your priest or whoever tells you this, if you see it played out in with your friends, your family, your relatives, in your schools and your communities, it's going to be very difficult for you to question it. Most people don't question especially when it comes to religion and culture, things that are really have been passed down for many years. Most people don't question them. But so then it becomes a generational pattern because it comes to us in exactly the same way that came to our parents, and then the same came way to them through their parents. We don't tweak it at all. We don't we don't pass it on down to the next generation with any kind of evolution or up leveling or anything. We just take it. Okay, here's what I learned from my mom. I'm going to give it to you, and you're going to give it to your kids. So it has to start. Somebody in a family, in a society, has to say, right, I'm going to question this now. And here's my thought process around this. And I'm going to pass it down to the next generation differently.
Yes.
Hmm.
It's a very individual responsibility. We can say, why isn't society changing? Why are we all doing the same thing? Because there isn't a single, or very rarely, an individual who's ready to question, turn it around, create their own truth around a generational belief, and then pass on the new belief.
So
Yes.
it means that it's the responsibility of each and every one of us
Exactly.
to to uh, uh,
Yes.
to teach the others around us what is right and what is not right.
At least teach your offspring, people you're
Yes.
close to, your kids, you
Mm-hmm.
know, first of all, because you're allowed to, right? Nobody can tell you. Like people might not want you, like your own family members might not want you to tell,
Of course.
like your sisters might not
Yes.
want you, or your might not want you to tell their
Yes.
their kids, right? How to live and how to be.
True.
It's very sensitive, right? But the only people who nobody can tell you how to bring them up, no, I mean they can. People will try to criticize everything you do, but theoretically, legally, right? These are the ones that you are allowed to teach certain morals and values and ways of
Mm-hmm.
living, are your own offspring. And
It's
but we don't even do that.
Yes, I think yes,
Yes.
it has to start in the very minute micro level, which is our, most inner circle, the one that you can have impact, you're like to have impact on, which is, your kids. And I think for people who don't have kids and I think only starting a conversation, starting to talk about it, like as we are doing now, like you and your friend, you and your whoever, just as a topic and as a conversation to start. I think that's very important, than to just implicitly sort of go with the flow or go with, and then tell yourself that, I'm responsible for what I believe, but just talking about it, I think, might get things moving in the right direction, bringing them to the surface, I think, talking about them.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. And have the courage.
Have the
Yes,
courage.
And also to have the courage.
Yes. Takes a
true.
lot of courage because once you start doing that, you're going to get a lot of criticism. There's going to be a lot of people around you who are not going to like it. Nobody likes what's called a disruptor.
Yes.
Nobody
Mm-hmm.
likes a disruptor, right? Nobody likes somebody who comes in and wants to say the
And
complete
just, yes, and just to throw this, stone into yes, a stagnant sort of, pond, or,
yeah.
or lake. And then, those ripples of change, yes, are very annoying and very discomforting,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
because we are okay with how things
Yes.
are, even if so much is boiling underneath,
Yes.
but on the surface, things seems to be okay, we're managing.
I mean, it's always, this is the way we've always done it and we've always survived and we've always managed. So, why rock the boat?
Yes.
I
Why?
want to say something also. I didn't read
Yes.
the book, but I want to say that I have three boys. The eldest is 28, the middle is 25, and I learned a lot from them.
Mm,
And they had the opportunity to study abroad and they work abroad now. And we always have discussions. And I learned a lot. Really, they have different mindset. They are more open, of course.
mm.
And it is like a mutual learning.
Yes.
So it's also we learn from our children. We learn from them.
Yes. Yes.
They
Yeah.
can be the catalyst and they can sometimes be the reason why you might to start
Yes, exactly.
looking at things differently. They kind of give you permission and their courage sometimes can sort of shame you. Like, if my son and my daughter is so willing to think outside the box, and I'm not because I'm too scared still of what people are going to think of me, what are people going to say? But here are my kids who are, starting to break these generational patterns. So it's very true, Mayed. Our children always can be great teachers.
Yes, exactly.
I agree. Yes.
True.
Mm.
True. Well, something going back to Tess, I think I feel I'm not happy with Hardy. I think yeah, I'm not. I'm not.
He's
I mean,
what do you
I
call
mean,
it?
I
In
know that.
literature, like he's one of the greats, okay? But
Yes,
all of his literature is all of it. It's depressing. There's no light at the end of any tunnel in any work of
it's
Thomas
as
Hardy.
if in every situation, he chooses the worst case scenario is happening.
Yes.
Okay, that is number one. And even though I wrote down here that the novel had the subtitle of A Pure Woman.
Mm.
So it's as if he was telling us that, no, I think that, I don't care what society, how labels, Tess or stigmatizes her, or but she is a pure woman. So he was defying, the
Yeah,
status
yeah,
quo or the norm
yeah.
at the time. But why the heck would he, okay, offer Angel a second chance, okay, and not Tess? Why does she have to sacrifice, lose her life, okay? Whereas, as you said, they both committed the same sin,
Yeah,
or crime, or made the same mistake,
yeah.
okay? She had seen a lot of life, adversaries. She'd seen a lot of, unpleasant things. But why does he get the chance for salvation or for redemption? He gets a second chance. She
Be-
doesn't.
I think because this was the reality of the time. This was that Victorian England, right?
Yeah.
And he was just being very blunt about it. She would not have gotten a second chance. Only the man would have gotten a second. This is exactly what he's trying to say, that this is the injustice and the hypocrisy of this Victorian, um, not just, I mean, there's the rural society also, and the
Sometimes
double
I tell
standard.
myself, yes, that he just wants to give us the shock,
Yeah.
again, as a way of shaking, as you say, rocking, the boat. But it's so cruel, again.
But
But
what about the novel was okay, even if we take aside the rape incident, okay? Everything about her life was cruel.
true, يا
The living
حبيبتي.
standards, the hard labor, the living conditions, like it's a harsh reality.
Yes,
This
she
wasn't
having to make a living
pushed.
yes, she thinking about, her siblings, the children, and her mother.
Yes.
So again, this concept of that it all falls on her shoulder, that
Hmm.
she's the one who has always, like, in a way, she's the matriarch,
Yes.
like she's responsible of a whole sort of clan or a whole,
Yes.
tribe, you
Yes.
know, and it's so unfair
There's
again.
no there's
So
no reprieve. There's no
no,
reprieve.
yes,
I think
and
he says
going back,
that. He wants
yes,
I think he wants to stress that
yes,
until the end. She could have not died a natural death, and she would not have found any justice until the end of her life. Maybe he just decided to. Maybe this was his little bit of mercy on her, you know,
yes.
to end her life
Right.
quickly.
خلاص عشان she needs
Oh,
this needs to
enough.
stop, and yes,
Oh,
to end, at
yes,
some point,
yes,
she needs to be in peace,
yes,
eternal peace,
yes.
enough of what's happening, of life hazards, um to her. So I think about that, but also I was reading sort of was it the final scene or whatever, when she was like, she's accepting that she's dying, she wants to go, and she's talking to, what's his name, Angel, and telling him that, to look after Liz, okay, and that she is smart, she is beautiful. And I didn't like it, the part when she said, you can teach her, okay, to become or to grow for her, what is the thing, to grow for herself or to become, okay. So to me, I think the woman in me was angry, because so it has to be done through Angel. Angel has to be the agent of change, he has to be the one educating. Maybe I'm being biased here. Maybe in reality, yes, it takes a whole society, as in men and women, to make the change. But Angel himself, I mean, the one who's also, equally
Yes.
sinful as, not equally, he's even more sinful to me, than Tess, you know. So he has to be the agent or the catalyst for Liz to evolve, and become the woman, the strong woman, she deserves to be. I don't know. I also thought about that.
Well, this is also the perfect example of just perpetuating the same generational pattern again. Like she didn't try to break it, despite everything that happened to her. She did not once think that this is something that needs readjustment.
Yes.
Even on her deathbed, she was reiterating that here's what I'm passing down.
Yes.
It's going to continue. This cycle will continue.
So let's hope that Liz would be able to cut and break this cycle.
Probably
You know?
not in Victorian England, maybe later.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, so I think we are sort of an hour, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to add more. I mean, I could add that I did Tess, as I told you, I did Tess in college.
Yeah.
I wasn't fond of her,
Yeah.
okay, maybe, but I'm more sympathetic now with her, maybe more even, empathetic with her. I guess the age and maturity,
Experience.
and yes, experience. Thank you. I guess at 19 or 20, I was thinking she is stupid. I was
Yes.
thinking, what a helpless, kind of girl. Why doesn't she, when we're young and you're
Yes.
thinking that, all by yourself, you could change everything. But no, I'm looking at her now, in different color, with different eyes and yes. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the similar because I also read it when I was in college.
Yes.
And you just feel like she's one of those characters, you just feel like for me the thing I was very frustrated, continually frustrated with how she was, you know, very, very insistent. Like she did not give up. She didn't give up. And it was very difficult for me to I mean, our generation was brought up as women, in all fairness, right? That you work hard and you keep trying and you will succeed and you will get what you want. And it seemed for this poor girl that no matter how she tried, no matter what she did, nothing worked out
Is
for her.
working out, Habibti, for
Nothing
her.
worked out for her in her life. Not one little thing.
Jinxed. Yeah, she is so jinxed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Uh,
when you reread it, obviously, when you're 18, 19, you're in college, you're
mm,
obviously not married, you don't have kids, you've never gone through that experience, you've never gone through injustice. As
yes.
18 and 19-year-olds, what injustice have we suffered?
Yeah.
But in our 50s now,
Yeah.
whether we've gone through it ourselves, we've definitely seen other people go through it. So relating to Tess now, you
Yes.
can relate to almost everything she goes through. Doesn't take away from the injustice, but we also don't dismiss her as much as we did in our
Yes.
when we were teenagers. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Also, again, as mature women, I'm thinking about, the carrying, the bodily trauma, of being raped,
Yeah.
of losing a child,
Yeah.
of being deprived of your loved one, or, the one that you thought, I mean, too many things,
Being
to take
deprived of
and to
your
carry.
parents at such a young age, your parents
Yes.
and your siblings.
So it's too much,
Yeah.
it's too much for one person, let alone one woman, at Victorian England, again, very conservative, not permissible, many social constraints. So yes, yeah, yes, yani I feel much more for Tess, for Tess now, and in a way, as we were saying, it kind of relieved that she's gone,
Yes.
that
It
she
was
is
the only
now.
way. It's the only
Yes,
way. What was she gonna do? Live for another 30 years like this?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, so here,
Only one thing, a small thing though. I mean, at the very end, uh, Angel admitted that it was his fault,
too
but
late, too
it was
late, ya
too late.
Marianne.
Yeah,
Typical guy. Typical guy.
I mean, he was away like maybe a year in Brazil,
Yeah.
and then at the very end, yeah, it came to him that it was his fault. I mean, he could have come, he could have traveled back um, um,
Earlier, yes,
earlier, yes,
yes,
Much earlier.
but
yes,
well,
yes.
it's the
Again, he
story.
has the luxury of time. He has the luxury of, taking his time, revisiting, his conceptions and his ideas. Okay, something that was a luxury for, unaffordable luxury for
Yeah,
Tess.
yeah, that's true.
And he had the privilege of being, I sound like an angry feminist now. He has the privilege of being a man, that in of itself is everything. Okay, society would always excuse him and find excuses for him and accept him,
Oh,
which is
it is
something that
really
would
a
never
nice
happen.
world.
Hmm. Hmm. So yes, this, let's hope things, turned out better for Liz. So
Mm-mm. Hopefully.
hopefully, yes.
Hopefully.
Yes. What else?
Anybody have any observations about Tess, things they love, things that you personally related to potentially in the story, even if you haven't finished it?
No. No.
Is it a book you would recommend?
Oh, that's a good question. Given that it's depressing,
Well, I mean, we watch TV shows. Like I haven't seen
yes.
this مسلسل you're talking about, but I don't think it's a happy one, right?
No,
And yeah, everybody's
no.
watching it, right?
لا لا لا. Dana, mark my words, when you have time to do it, or if you have a shahid or a watch it,
Yeah.
okay. Oh my goodness. The tension and the stress is heightened to the max, okay, to the point that you need some comic relief,
After.
otherwise, لا, it gets to you. It does. And it's not only me, go on any platform, you'll find that this is all across,
Mm.
all
Has,
across.
has
It's
anybody here has anybody here watched
what's
this?
the name of this series?
لام شمسية.
لام
لام شمسية.
شمسية.
Mm.
Yes, Lam Shamsiyya, okay? And also, not to spoil it, but the idea of Lam Shamsiyya, which is the solar lamp in the Arabic grammar,
Yeah.
إنه هي, it is written, but it is not
Not pronounced.
pronounced,
Mm.
okay? So he wants, the creators want to say that this is where we talk about those things that are swept under the carpet, that
Mm.
actually nobody wants to talk about the elephant in the room.
Mm.
It is
Mhm.
there, it's written, but it's not articulated. Nobody talks about it.
Oh.
So المسكوت عنه,
Oh.
and it's done artistically. It's done very well.
Yeah.
Very well. يعني elements يعني of a work of art. لا, it's very well made.
Mm.
بس it's taking its toll على, yes, too much, again. For example, makes you think about, يعني, God forbids, when your child, you find out that your child, has been, sexually assaulted, okay, or has been sexually abused, okay.
Mm.
And of course, one of the shocking first thing is, I was talking with my daughter, she's asking me, why does the father of the child denies it, refuses to to even consider that it is his best friend, his lifelong best friend, male best friend,
Mm.
is the one doing this to his child, 9-year-old child.
Mm.
Okay, so my daughter was asking, but mommy, the denial. I'm like, it I يعني I can understand it as a parent.
Yes.
Okay, yes, your first go-to would be, you deny it,
Yes.
because if you start to accept it, the guilt of being the parent who did not protect,
Yeah.
her children, okay, is too much to live with.
Yes.
The burden, where was I?
Yeah.
Where was I when this was happening? Why couldn't I see it? Why couldn't I protect? Or, okay, I couldn't be that stupid. I couldn't be that, failing of a
Mhm.
parent. So it's dealing with a lot of things. So the easiest and safest place to go is la 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 la. La.
Yeah.
You must have been imagining,
Yeah.
it did not
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Plus that everything about the what's his name, the abuser, okay, it doesn't give way at all.
Mm.
He's
Mm.
respectable.
Mm.
He's very personable, more than you think. He's a college professor. Okay, he has a sweetheart daughter.
Yeah.
Okay, So, again, and I like this that they moved it from the stereotypical that he has to be, this sort of a creep, with some sort of idiosyncrasy, ولا لازمة بيعمل. No, he is, he's like, he looks like he's one of us,
Yeah. But
and then
that's what I mean. I haven't seen this.
statistics, exactly. That's what
This
statistics
is what
show.
they are. This is totally, we're just going on a tangent here, but when I was in school in Saudi Arabia, I went to school in Aramco, which is an
Yeah.
American compound.
Yes.
And we discovered 10 years ago that one of our teachers, who we all loved, he was everybody's favorite teacher. He used to teach us social sciences.
Yeah.
Social science, yeah. Uh, turned out to be one of the biggest pedophiles in the history of
Yes.
North American pedophile teachers. And
Oof.
one of the reasons he was very popular is that there used to be trips every single year that he used to take. And he used to take the best trips to Nepal, like adventure trips. And it was discovered that he only liked boys. And
Mm-hmm.
in a career that spanned, I think, 30 years, he was an international teacher. He taught at the American school in Lebanon before the Civil War, and then he came to Saudi Arabia in the 70s and 80s, and then he went to in Indonesia, like the really big international schools in like the big centers of all these really big international schools, and in each school, he
Yes.
abused dozens and dozens and dozens of boys
My God.
over 30 years. And I can't tell you, he was everybody's favorite teacher.
Yes.
And he used to take the boys obviously the trips were mixed, girls and boys, but he would give the boys cookies at night with drugs. So the boys would like fall asleep and then he'd walk in. Nobody knows what he did to them, but he would take pictures. And then, long story short, his housekeeper at his last position, I think in the American school in Ecuador or something like that, he forgot his laptop open or something like that. She found the pictures. She took them to the police. He ended up killing himself because it was a scandal. His wife was like the perfect couple, right? While he was a teacher, his wife was always on the board of whatever school he was in. So she had a very high position. He had two boys, adorable boys that everybody loved. You would never. And he ended up being, um, the title was the worst pedophile in the history of American pedophile, I don't know what. The worst.
Yes.
Hundreds of kids, I think, by the time he had killed himself.
Yes.
So this is the truly, I mean, it's spot on, this show you're talking about, because it's the person you would least suspect.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Also made me again think about as a culture, how we I mean, maybe our generation was, better than our mothers, okay? But still, generally in our culture, we're very, what's the word? We like to touch, like, there's so
Yeah.
much of,
Yeah.
of the touching and the hugging with a
Yeah.
very, I forgot the word starts with a T, not the touch.
Touchy feely, touchy feely.
Yes, yes, okay. And like when the kids were like toddlers and you're like, okay, give auntie a kiss, okay, or give uncle a hug, or give, or just yes, big
Yeah.
hug,
Yeah.
and how I mean, I'm gonna speak about myself, that this was I guess my way of showing that I have this like adorable, sociable, toddler
Yeah.
that that likes people and that
Yeah.
is so cute and this
Yeah.
and this, okay. uh, but no, now we hear that, on social media saying, you should not force or even ask them to,
Yeah.
at all, okay. Nobody takes your kid and puts them on, on his lap, things that when we were growing up, no, they were not there.
It was the natural way of human beings and
Yeah.
communities.
Yes,
But
again, the endearment through the kissing and
yeah,
the hugging.
yes.
Okay. مثلا you ask, I don't know, the aunt or whatever, can you give her the shower before, but because again, you're so busy or
Yeah.
you're so tired and you want a help hand.
Yes.
Okay. Um, Yes, and I don't know. This reminds me of when I had my second daughter. Okay, my first daughter, that's Noor, was 4 years old,
Mm.
and I had a C-section. It was my second C-section. Okay, I was in Cairo. My mom lived in Alexandria. My mom was a working lady, and I gave birth to Nelly. It was January. For my mom, this was a time for exams. And my mom was a superintendent for a district في Alexandria.
Mm.
Okay, what يعني في education, field.
Mm.
So she stayed with me for I think something like, I don't know, maybe 5 days or a week max, and then she had to return. Okay, and I am with a toddler with C-section. تمام and Nelly.
Mm.
So I think somebody in the family suggested that I get a girl to help with Noor, with the toddler
Yeah.
who was 4. I think she was 19. She was, 18. She was something like that. I remember very well. And she was from this area. طبعا no stigmatizing, but I remember perfectly. كيلو 4.5.
Mm.
This is على طريق السويس, because I lived in Heliopolis.
Mm.
Okay, and I remember that she came, she was sweet. Wallahi, I think maybe it was the first or the second night. Okay, so I was in my bedroom, I was changing diapers to Nelly or whatever, and then I heard nothing from the Noor's bedroom, the toddler. So I went to the room. Okay, the door was opened and everything. I didn't see anything. But I just started having the feeling in something wrong was going on.
Mm. Mm.
Immediately, I remember, okay, I called my cousin who brought her and I said, you come now. I want this. She's not spending the night under my roof. And I remember everyone thought I was crazy.
Mm.
You need help. بس لا, there was something.
Yeah,
I don't even remember what was it. Is it a way she was holding her or was she putting her on? Something just felt not right.
yeah, yeah.
And they told me you're crazy. She's a girl, and
Mm.
your daughter is a girl.
Yeah,
يعني
yeah,
if she was different sexes,
yeah,
فmaybe يعني it's a bit plausible. But
yeah.
honest to God, إنه لا. You'd rather, which is why, thank you so much for being with your daughter. Okay, now, because yes, يعني in reality, يعني ugly reality, yes, but who can you trust your kid with?
No.
Okay, and I remember that. Uh,
Which is, I mean, if we're going to connect this back to Tess for a second,
yes,
okay,
yes,
when her mother just sent her off to her relatives
كده. Yes,
because they're relatives, they're the cousins.
yes,
There's a trust there, even though she's
yes,
never met them.
yes, 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 yes. And until this day, I would choose, I mean, as a mother, I would choose to send my kid to a nursery during the day, then leave him at home,
Yeah.
with somebody.
Because they're not alone at the nursery.
Yes.
Yeah, there's always somebody watching.
Yes, I would not. I mean, of course, now there are cameras and you can access your house, but you cannot be opening the camera, for the whole 8 hours you are at work. So and I remember also that going back to women, that people, including my husband, was thinking I'm such a selfish mother because, I want to send her to nursery to go to work.
Mm.
And that she's better at home and, this, that. But no, I think nurseries, يعني I'm a big fan. I mean, they're women's best friend. I mean, they're a great invention, for working mothers. Or even if you're not working and you want your kid to socialize, and start develop socially. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yes,
Yeah.
a lot of things.
A
Yeah,
lot of
like going
a lot of
on,
things. And
for mothers.
so many bits and pieces of so much of Tess that still resonates today,
Yes, and going back to Mariana again and to Tess, we were not educated on this. I mean, I wasn't, I mean, it's something I had to learn, on my own.
Yeah.
What to look out for, how to, protect your kids, because this is not part of everyday Egyptian household conversation. You don't talk
Thank you.
about this.
No,
You don't talk about this.
no.
It's
So
time to
yes,
start, ladies.
It's time to
yes,
start. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I said. It has to start. Like, if there's something you feel is um disproportionately, there are lots of things that we can look around us and critique and wish that
Mhm,
that it could change. But I think it has to be something that's so disproportionately unfair, I think, and clearly is not working, that we each have to start taking a stand for
mhm,
it personally. I always bring up this example because it's the easiest one, which is health. I mean, this is a huge generational belief, right? That gets passed down from generation to generation, that you're stuck with the illnesses your parents had. You can't reverse disease. Getting older and aging is inevitable. You're going to get old and frail and be on all these medications. And who doesn't believe that?
Mm,
Until somebody decides, you know what, this is actually not true. I'm going to break this pattern for myself and for my family. And you can see it reverse 100%. But in the meantime, you're looked at as crazy. Nobody wants to believe what you have to say.
mhm,
You're mocked, you're criticized. But we have to apply that same, I mean, all of you here at some level have experienced this. You went from believing one thing about your health to seeing
mm,
and having a clear different personal experience than the truth that you were told. So you have to have that same tenacity, I believe, if you want to change something else in your life.
mm.
Any other generational belief that's being passed down.
Yes, yes,
Because nobody's going to do it for you. Like you
Yeah.
can't just say, oh, maybe they'll learn it in school, or maybe some warrior is gonna come around and change this for us. Maybe some government is gonna come and make a new law. You can't wait for these things. Nobody is going to change or give you the things that you want in your life and for your kids except you. No one.
yeah,
It's personal responsibility, 100%.
yeah.
Sally, how are you?
How are you? Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I didn't read the book. It's shocking for me how big it is for me, but it's hanging there in front of me. One day I will.
Take it little by little, ladies. This is what I say. Like, commit to just, if you're finding it very challenging to get into the habit, or if there's a book,
Of
there are
reading.
books like, yeah, commit to just 15 minutes a day. It's not long. It's not long, but 15 minutes
Yes.
is enough, done consistently enough. 15 minutes a day, you will finish the book at some point. I promise you.
Yeah, I'm sure I would, but it's because of Ramadan, and all
Yeah,
the days not as long, and
yeah.
trying to maintain, my gardening. I'm doing a big change in other things.
Okay, okay.
Gardening and
I'll
flowers and
show us.
food and
Yeah, yeah.
so the reading, I got the books, I have them in front of me, and I'm intending to I'll start with the smaller one, not this very big
Start
one.
with the small. I mean, the next one is a short one. I think the next one is what? Siddhartha, I think. In next,
The migration to the north.
East of
Season of
Eden,
Migration to the North. I knew it was a
Yeah.
short one. Season of
Yes.
yeah.
Migration to the North is also a short one. Very easy. And we don't have a session next week because of Eid. So you could easily jumpstart your reading if you haven't started or if you feel like you're behind.
Yeah.
Season of Migration is not a difficult read and it's a short book. If you start today, 15 minutes a day, you will be done before our next session in 2 weeks, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah.
Yeah. Yeah.
عفوا لسنة طيبين for
وانتي
those who
طيبة.
celebrate the Eid.
Thank you so much, man. When is Easter this year?
Around the 20th of April,
Oh, listen, sure.
we still have it a few more
A
weeks
few more
to go.
weeks. A few more weeks. Yes, inshallah. Yes.
I was wondering, you had mentioned once Um, a detox,
Hmm?
detox.
Yep, we're
Will it
doing
be
that.
before? Will it be before Easter or after Easter,
Oh,
or in the
before.
midst of
But I
Easter?
mean, it should be very easy for you because there's no meat, there's nothing, there's just fruits and vegetables.
Fruits. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be easy, especially if you've already been fasting for Lent. It'll be very
Hmm.
easy. I mean, easier, right? It's not going to be very easy. But we do that. I will send the material out for that. Next week is a holiday. I'm not sending anything out. The week after that is when I'll send out the module for that week will be the April is our detox month, our health month.
Is it then the whole month?
Yeah, we're gonna apply the food until the end of our time together. So we'll give it a push in April, but we won't finish it in April. We'll keep doing it April, May,
Okay,
and June. Yeah.
Okay.
good.
All right.
Um, Speaking of Lent,
Mm.
um, as I mentioned once, I always wanted to read the whole Bible.
Hmm.
Uh, but now with Lent, it's different because we have a daily meditation,
Okay.
and I found that a good start. I mean, our fasting time is more than 40 days,
Yes.
so um,
Mm.
every day or each day I have a new meditation to read with references from the Bible.
Okay.
So I thought it's good to go this way because then I'm already connected with the Bible, and I hope, or I wish, I will try to, after Easter, that I go deeply into the Bible. The idea is that we don't know how how much time is left for us on earth.
Yeah.
So if I mean if I or if we get to know God better in a better way, it will be good because at the end, He will be our host in heaven.
Yes.
So it's good to start now or to continue from now to get to know God in a better way so that when we go to heaven, then we know who our host is. It sounds a bit complicated, but I think it's right for me. Or
Yes.
the way is right how I started. So with reading the meditations and praying and fasting and almsgiving, so on and so forth. So it will prepare a way for me to continue after Lent.
To continue. I mean, I think I believe God gives us these times of the year, Ramadan and Lent, where we're kind of forced to do the things that we know are good for us and good for others. We know we should be reading the Bible and the Quran. We know we should be fasting. We know we should be giving. We know we should be praying more. Um, and obviously we get lazy, but then God is like, right, now you have 40 days. Make the
Now
most.
it's the time.
Now you have Ramadan, you have 30 days, make the most of it. And it really can be a great jump start wherever you are. Even if you're someone, I truly believe there's never a limit. There's never an upper limit to this. So even if you're
No,
somebody who already reads the Bible, maybe you go through the whole Bible once a month, maybe you do the whole Quran once a month already, you can do more. You can maybe go through and analyze more, maybe look through and understand the language more. Maybe you connect a meditation to it. Maybe you go to a class and learn. Like there's always another level. Obviously, if you're still at the beginning level, then it's very clear what you need to do. But I think it's so important that we acknowledge that we're given this opportunity to advance
exactly.
ourselves spiritually during these times. It's a blessing, really, and you're absolutely
It
right.
is.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. And I love how you have that awareness and you're using the spiritual time wisely, right?
Well,
Using
we had many losses in the family.
Hmm,
From my cousins, a few of my cousins, my brother, and so on, and they were all in a young age. So end of 50s, beginning of 60s.
my goodness.
So then when I look at myself, then I say, Well, I don't know how long I'm still here, so let's let me make the best out of it before I go.
Yeah. Sadly, that's what it takes sometimes, a really
Yeah.
sad reality check, a really sad,
Hmm.
something very sad to remind you. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think those things also happen for a reason, also to help people remind us, jolt us, that spirituality is one of those, it is a primary food. And sometimes it's one of the most neglected ones for some people. We think we have time. We think we have more time to work on it, more time to improve it. And so when we really, it really is a blessing when you come to this realization that, let me not put it off any longer. Let me
Hmm.
let me create the time and the focus for it right now because you never know.
And then it brings you nearer to the will of God.
Of
What
course,
is the will of God?
exactly.
I mean, I don't know, why has my brother had, no, why has my, uh, I am mixing between German and English. Anyway, I was thinking, why, why did my cousins have to go early? I mean, what good could have come out of it? But then um, afterwards, I say the good things
Mm,
in them, So uh, for me now, for Easter and Lent, it's a matter of to get to accept God's will more in my life.
mm.
Yeah.
So through the good things, the less good things, and well, it's easy to say, but it's not easy uh, to live with.
But you've taken that step,
I
right?
have, yes, indeed.
Taken that step. You've taken that step, despite how difficult it is.
Hmm.
And it's very much, I don't know if you've made the connection, but that acceptance, again, is very much the feminine quality of just allowing.
Aha, I
Yeah.
did not look at it that way.
Yeah. It's ve
Yeah,
that feminine quality is very spiritual of just allowing.
allowing and accepting,
Hmm.
accepting and allowing.
Hmm.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dana,
Yes.
I wanted to share with you that the fasting for me this year didn't do me well.
Oh no.
I was, yeah, yeah. I mean, actually, physically, because it was very easy for me than last year with my nutrition as we go.
Yeah.
First 10 days after almost 15, yani, since 6 days, I started spotting again, and it was really very alarming for me. I connected it to the long hours of fasting
Mm.
and my urinary place. It's not
Mm.
don't have enough fluids maybe, and
Why, why,
my
why does it worry you?
no, يعني عشان I did the biopsy last year and
Yeah.
everything was okay. I
Yeah.
had one time spotting when I checked. He told me just stop broccoli, as you remember, and and Yinsun, the things with high estrogen, and go on Daflon 500 once a day. Actually, when I was fasting, I stopped Daflon. I said I'm fasting and I'm
Mm.
eating very well, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
I
going
mean,
to check. Mm,
you know, I was
yeah.
telling this to the detox ladies and the hormone detox program that
Yeah.
with some of the really like hardcore detox teachers that I worked with and learned from, they teach that menstruation or like the monthly bleeding, okay, is nothing more than one of the ways that the body gets rid of toxins because it's a liquid, it's a fluid, right? Like the same way you go and urinate or the same way you sweat or the same way, you have bowel movements. It is one of the ways the body eliminates toxicity and it does it on a monthly basis. And this is why some of you who have regular periods might have noticed that maybe at the before the program or right at the beginning of detoxing, your period might have been long, It might have been dark, might have been spotty, it might have been on, off, on, off. And then as you clean up your diet, the more you stop the inflammatory foods, the more you detox your body, you notice that the period gets shorter, it gets brighter. So the color goes from like maybe a brownish, dark red brownish to
Yes.
more of clear,
Yeah.
kind of pink fuchsia color. Doesn't
Yeah.
come and go. It's almost just like a faucet on day one gets turned on, and then 4 days later gets turned off. And this is what a healthy menstruation should look like. It should be light and bright and short, with no introductions at the beginning and nothing lagging at the end. And the reason you see it clear up like that is because there's fewer toxins being dumped into your uterus and being moved out of the uterus. So what these deep, hardcore detox teachers were teaching that actually, if you're still in, I don't want to say perimenopause, or even way before, like in your 30s or 40s, if you reach a very high state in your body of complete being toxin free, your period can actually stop because there's nothing left for your body to eliminate. Because what do people, the worry is with menstruation for most women, when they see it not be regular, when they see it spotting, when they see it change color, we feel obviously it's going to affect the health of our reproductive system, and we connect the health of our reproductive system with our fertility. But fertility is not about menstruation, it's about ovulation. So we all know, we've all heard of, like my daughter, women who just have a baby, okay? Very common that they don't menstruate for a few months
Mm.
after delivery. But how many stories have we heard of where they get pregnant? They think
Yeah.
that I'm not having
Yes.
my period, then it's okay, right? And they just don't think about it. They're tired, they're absent-minded, there's no protection, and they get pregnant 2 or 3 months after. It's
Yes.
because it's not about the blood. Getting pregnant is about ovulation. But when you clear up the toxins in your uterus, there's less for it to come out every month. So the darker it is, or if you're seeing spotting, Sally, it could be just the uterus just clearing out debris.
But I menopaused almost 6 months, and I'm 59.
Right. So it takes time. Even menopause takes time. Menopause is 12 months. So
Yes, I know.
you're only considered menopausal if 12 consecutive months have passed with no spotting, no period, no nothing.
I
Until
stayed
then,
6 months only.
yeah.
Six
Until,
only. Never, never, never 1 year. Yeah.
yeah. So you could go for 6 months and then have a period, and then go for 6 months without, and then have another one.
Yeah.
That can happen. But what I would be more concerned with is whenever you do have flow, what the color is, what the duration is. Is it clotting or not? Because all of this is just that's signs of toxicity, and that's signs that your body's getting rid of it.
Two clots in 5 days
Mm.
only, and then spotting. Two small clots. Yes. So,
And because you're fasting also. So what does fasting do?
but I stopped fasting those 5 days. I decided that the fasting is not doing really, maybe not helping me.
Well, here's what it was doing. Fasting is a type of deep detox. When we
Oh,
don't eat, okay, for 15, 16 hours, okay, that even if, let's say, the majority of people will do the 16 hours, 18 hours, and then eat all the wrong foods, right? But despite that, that window of no eating is a time when the body does regenerate, when it
mm,
does clean itself out. So potentially your body is just doing a little quick last minute, sweep. Here we go.
okay.
She's detoxing. She's
Thank you for hearing this. It changed my
There's nothing
خالص.
wrong. There's
You know,
nothing wrong.
I go back fasting, and actually, everybody was envying me. No headaches, not tired, no thirst, and I was going to all the invitations in the beginning of Ramadan with my either fruit bowl or salad bowl, and then I was happy. I eat dates. I don't eat not one single time I ate sweets
Amazing.
beginning of
Yeah, you
Ramadan.
were
Like one time only creme caramel. Only once. I loved it. Creme caramel.
so you were fasting plus the food you were eating was detox food. So of course your body
Huh?
is doing a quick elimination. The body
Detox,
the
but
body the body doesn't do
little.
the body doesn't malfunction. The
But
body
in Ramadan, I took like two times a little yogurt, a little piece of arish only. Yani,
I mean today's
yeah,
day 24, okay? No.
yeah, yeah.
The body always responds correctly. You triggered the detox and a deep detox with the many many hours of not eating, the body is responding to what you are triggering. That's it. Body doesn't fall apart, the body doesn't just malfunction, it responds brilliantly the way God created it, very cleverly and very much in alignment with whatever it is you're doing.
I'm so glad that I managed to attend today. It
This
shifted
is
my
why. This is
mindset.
why you attend.
I love the feeling because I thought, oh, I can't now tolerate the fasting is not helping me. It's making me go back unbalanced hormones. I
No,
thought so.
no.
Ah, so good. But the pains are يعني I have some pains, muscle pains كده they come and go. I feel maybe lack of something in eating, muscle pains, shooting. I don't take any supplements, only the food.
I would do
I take the
magnesium.
celery.
Magnesium in this case.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I start magnesium.
take your magnesium.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mayeda, any tips of lowering cholesterol? Well, here's the thing with cholesterol. They keep raising it. They keep raising what is the healthy level of cholesterol. I think in the 70s it was like 100 is acceptable. And then they made it 200. And then they made it 300. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I if you are eating regularly, Mayeda, bread, dairy, processed foods, seed oils, junk food, anything of that list, then what happens is cholesterol is a response. Like I just said, the body responds. And cholesterol is one of the ways the body responds as a self-defense mechanism against inflammation in the body. So the more inflammation there is in the body, the body is going to trigger mainly one of three defense mechanisms: water retention, cholesterol, and calcium, what ends up being a calcium deficiency. Water retention is easy. Whenever you consume inflammatory foods, you wake up the next day and your fingers are puffy, maybe your pants are a little bit more tight. The body buffers your organs against whatever inflammatory food you just ate by retaining water so that it protects your organs. That's the first one. You keep doing this over and over and over and over again, then the second one is cholesterol. So remember that cholesterol is produced naturally in your body. It's not something that is brought into the body by what you eat. Your body naturally produces cholesterol. It's something that's good for you. It's there to protect you. So when we see higher cholesterol, and again, okay, they keep raising the bar. So it's very confusing because you could actually have a very healthy, uh, and they've also discovered that actually whatever high rate of cholesterol you might have has no correlation to heart attacks at all. So this is one of these things that the medical industry creates, okay? But let's just go back to how the body responds. When it feels like there is any kind of danger, then one of the ways it buffers, same way it uses water, is it's going to produce more cholesterol to coat the inside of your arteries so that because when you eat inflammatory foods, what happens to your blood? Your blood becomes acidic from the acidic foods, and acidic blood is hot. So when you have hot blood coursing through your body, through your arteries, through your veins, that's what scorches the inside of the arteries, scratches them. Okay. And that's where the danger is. So then the body produces cortisol to coat the inside to protect it from the heat of the acidic blood, which is caused by the inflammatory foods. So as soon as you stop doing that, then the body doesn't need to respond with this self-defense mechanism anymore, and the cholesterol goes down. But in and of itself, cholesterol is not a dangerous compound. It doesn't create problems in the body. So go back and, sort of look at how and it doesn't happen overnight, this process, okay? It does take time. The body sort of does give you time to self-check. It gives you time to self-regulate a little bit before it knocks these self-defense mechanisms into place. So this and a higher reading of cholesterol will not happen overnight. It could be something that's been developing in your body for a while now. So you need to sort of go back and sort of look at what you're eating. I don't eat junk or bad food. I mean, Mayeda, then, message me, let me know exactly what you are eating, and let me help you find your blind spot. If this has been, like, give me sort of what you've been eating for the past while. But I would say, as a general rule, I wouldn't worry too much about cholesterol. It's not this dangerous compound, especially if you say you're not eating junk or bad food. You're welcome.
Dana, I have a question about the chickpea
Hmm.
flour.
Yeah.
Um, for example, for making pancakes or and such,
Yeah.
is it recommended instead of the normal flour?
Yes. Yes. So definitely when you want to make something gluten-free, basically,
Yes.
it's traditionally made with wheat flour, then your options are coconut flour, almond flour, chickpea flour. You also have brown rice flour. You can find
Ah,
lentil
okay.
flour. Yeah, there's several. There's several of them.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any,
I would,
oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
I would like to thank Amira for the moderating.
Yes,
Oh,
I was
It was,
just going to do that if
it
it,
was very effective and
yes.
interesting.
Right? She did it, right? Like you ladies are scared. Like who I'm gonna say before the next one, get a volunteer for a season of migration to the north. I mean, you saw. I mean, Amira, maybe Amira has a bit of an edge. She is an academic. She does read a lot anyway. She does analyze things anyway, whether she's reading for this group or not. So maybe she had a slight advantage. But this doesn't mean that anybody can't do this. Anybody can do this, right? You read the book, you come in with your ideas and your thoughts around it. You share your ideas and thoughts, and there's no right or wrong. And you just basically get people into a conversation. So I highly, highly recommend. I mean, Amira's done it and Sandra has done it. So Amira, actually, you were our second person. It's not that difficult. And nobody's here like, critiquing, what they're doing. We're enjoying it, we're appreciating it. So definitely, yes, thank you so much, Amira, for doing that.
yes, I think maybe one tip, I mean, for everyone is think of it as you've watched a movie, you went to the theater together, we watched a movie, and then we're just over dinner or over drinks, we're discussing, okay, what we liked, or did you see this, did you see that? It's just, it's the same thing, really. It's not that, yes, I mean, you don't have to have this sort of any analytical eye. It's just, again, how you're engaging with it, how, what impressions you have of it, how do you see it, how do you feel it, that's it. Or like you go to a museum and there's this painting and you're looking at it and okay, why are you so, hooked up on it?
Yeah,
What catches your eye?
yeah.
That's it, I think.
I really, it's actually like that. Thank you, Amira, for simplifying it even further. That's all it is. So I'll see who would like to volunteer for a season of migration to the north, which will be not next week, because next week is Eid. It'll be the week after that. So I also want to just take this opportunity to wish you all a happy, happy, happy Eid next week, inshallah. I hope that it's an enjoyable, relaxing vacation. I hope you enjoy your Eid food if that's what you want. If you don't want, then don't. And hopefully, inshallah, we will be back Oh no, we're not. We're still at this time. Sorry. I was going to say hopefully we're back to our regular time. We're not back to the regular time until May, inshallah. So we're still back at these what I call Tokyo hours. And I will be the week right after Eid. We won't start the food
Mhm.
the week right after Eid. I will give you the information. We're going to walk through it first, that first week back, and then the implementation will be the week after. So don't worry that, the Sunday after the Eid holiday, I'm going to give you a plan and you have to start implementing. I always give you a few days of preparation. It is going to be a much deeper, in my opinion, much simpler detox in terms of preparation, but much deeper because it's going to be, well, I'll let you see when we do it. But we're gonna kickstart off because the spring is the best season. If you're ever going to do fruits and vegetables where you're doing like 95% raw or 100% raw, if you're ever going to do that for the first time ever, springtime is the best time to do that. And this is why I left the detoxing until April. So this is what we're gonna do. And it's gonna be my first time to run it with any group. I eat like this before. I've done these detoxes on myself before, but this is going to be the first time that I help a group of women or any group go through it. So I'm really looking forward to that, and the healing powers of it are incredible. So don't worry, it's not going to happen right the week after Eid. It's going to happen the one after that. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful end of Ramadan, ladies. Have a wonderful, you're in the middle of Lent, I believe, Marianne. So last push there. Happy
Yes.
Eid, and I will see you all again in 2 weeks, inshallah.
Inshallah.
All
Thank
Thank
right.
you.
you.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.